Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And today we are going to educate you in a very fun and loving way about how you can reduce brain fog. Because how many of you out there right now are going through that and trying to figure out why you have such foggy thinking? And it seems like the older we get, the more that gets piled on us, and the more conditions health-wise we have, the less our brain functions. So today we want to give you some hope and tell you about some things that cause brain fog, some products you can take to help with brain fog, and some of the factors that are involved in why you have it to start with. And then we also have some questions at the end that some of our listeners have been sending in that they will get answered today by Dr. Guru over here, and he will tell you everything you're burning to hear. So, Dr. Lewis, why did you pick the subject of brain fog for this week's show?
I'm not going to answer that. Burning to hear. Everybody wants to be recognized, appreciated, and approved of. And I used to say that to women. I said, women are easy, and you could see them get their hackles up. And I said, you just want to be recognized, appreciated, and approved of. And they were like, aw. Actually, Janet said her aunt's in love with me today based on a Facebook post. Something about her smile rivaling the rising sun, something like that. The thing is, the reason I lead with that is because you cannot separate a physical illness or a physical problem without there being a counterpart mentally and spiritually. So if we break the cycle in one or more of those areas, it's just you pretty much take care of everything if you just keep it up and are consistent with it. Why did I start this on brain fog? I don't know. I had brain fog and forgot, so who knows. And I'm going to try to talk fast, and normally I don't talk fast. I'm really slow talking anyway, but I have so much, and I always write about 2 or 3 hours worth of notes for a 30-minute show. So what I want to tell you is I have so many people that stick with this stuff and get great results, and I appreciate you. Like I was talking to Carl yesterday and his lovely wife, Leslie, from Anna, Texas, about 3 hours away from here. And they are so oh my God, consistent, and they take a lot of what we're going to talk about today. And Carl said he could tell a difference within 2 or 3 days, and I think then he said Leslie wanted it because she noticed that his mental acuity was much, much better. So what I'm going to tell you, what usually appears to be a sacrifice today is really an investment in tomorrow, because your body doesn't belong to you. You need to do it for other people. Janet makes sure, she says, Stephen, you do it for everybody else, but you don't do it for yourself. I said, well, we all use our own motivations of some sort. And if you have a strong spirit, you can win. If you have a weak spirit, then you lean on people like me or somebody. You don't have to understand what I say, but you have to find someone that does, and then you follow them.
Well, when you're talking about brain fog, one of the things that I know causes brain fog is a hormonal imbalance, and sadly, I learned that firsthand. But at 35, I had a perfect brain. It was like, man, I could remember everything. I was a multitasker. I never forgot a thing. Very much like Brandy that works for us now. It's like she just don't forget anything. And then I had a hysterectomy, and it was like the minute that happened, I couldn't remember anything.
She said she did it when she's 35, and hell, she's still telling me she's 32. So I've got enough brain fog. I don't remember how old she is, but she's young and hot, so who knows?
Well, I remember going through probably 5 or 6 years that it just felt like I was in the middle of getting dementia and Alzheimer's, and I thought, how could this be happening at 35 years old? Which was one of the quests, amongst many, that had us searching for answers on how to regain health. Because I realized at that time, I did not have the health I would like to have. And I can honestly say now that through doing the lab work and getting the right supplementation, Thyroid had a bunch to do with it, as well as gut issues, which I'm sure Dr. Lewis is going to put that all together. But it actually was a big reason why the brain just doesn't function like it should. So it's not like you have to go down this road and stay here. And literally, I told Stephen this morning, I said, well, we just lost a really nice man here in our town that ran a Mexican restaurant that's he's very well known here in town. Very nice man. And apparently he had Alzheimer's for many years and died from it. And he was 87. And I'm thinking, my dad's 85, and because of the supplements that I have him on, he's got a better brain than I do. I mean, he tells me roads that we've missed and where we're going down in other states.
Yeah, and Janet's daddy has a much better physical body than most people that are 62, but he works at it. He'll still exercise, and he'll go trim the trees by himself. I said, Freddie, we can come help you. He said, thanks, and never asked for help.
Yeah, so, I mean, there are ways to slow it down. I know they've come out with a new blood test now to see if you have Alzheimer's. We actually have one of our patients that asked about that, and, we always tell people to do the 23andMe genetic testing because it does show genetically if you have a propensity towards that. And if you do, still, you have to do something to help slow it down if you want to keep your mind. And, Dr. Lewis has that in his family. And thank God, he still has his mind.
Yeah, well, we saw it, and it was very obvious when my mother was in her mid-60s, which is my age. I know I feel 35, and it takes a pot full of supplements to pull that off. But we saw it, and because my brother, who's also a chiropractor and very highly intelligent, made the dean's list, we pushed a lot of supplements on my mother, and she was willing. And not only would she break bones, she did some nasty bone breaking when she's 62, but Dr. James Lewis and I put her on all kinds of stuff, and her brain got better and better and better, and so did her bone strength. She could have horrible falls in her 80s and not break a bone, but it was years of consistently taking this, and her dementia didn't get really, really bad till she was about 88 to 92, and she was riding on the motorcycle with my brother when she was 91 and having a good time. So what? We put it off 20, 25 years, maybe close to 30. It was worth it, and I don't know what it cost because I have a bad tendency. I don't look at what things cost. It's like throw it in, let God sort it out, let God bless it. It's worth it.
Well, you're going to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, just because your insurance is going to pick it up, really? I mean, you're going to wait for an insurance company to pay for your health because they're not going to pay for your health. They're going to pay for your disease.
Yeah, just
maybe.
Barely do that. Don't get me started on the insurance companies, but and why is it society's gotten to the point where they think a disease needs a drug and they forget that the body knows how to function normally? All you need is the proper nutrition to pull that off, and you do need a good mental attitude. So if it's all right, I'll get into some of the meat of the matter.
Good. Tell us, like, I know some of the symptoms of that is brain fog is kind of like poor concentration, mental fatigue, inability to focus, confused.
That's me. I go down the rabbit trail all the time. And thank you, Dr. Amanda, for bringing that book. And she gifted me with a really, really good book. She said, well, this guy has a book that he sounds just like you do. And it's like, God bless you. I get a lot of good books that way, and I've had massive amount of guns and other things given to me, and expensive boots, etc. But all right, here it is. Some of the symptoms from getting toxins in your system can range from brain fog to headaches, especially chronic headaches, depression, arthritis. Of course, that's where I come in as a chiropractor. That's where I got started into the nutrition part. Asthma and nausea. So it can be, I can't sleep at night. Well, you're super, super toxic. So hang in there, Melissa. It's going to get better.
I love some glutathione. That really helps.
Yeah. And one of the big studies, and this has been, I think, back in the 1970s, when people were insulating their homes with a formaldehyde insulation. And people got sick, horrible. And so they had to learn the ones that got well, had to learn to beef up their ability to detox formaldehyde. And, you get the insulation and the carpets, etc., that off-gas all sorts of nasty chemicals. And so you have to do enough extra nutrients to detox every day. It's incredibly important. And some of the other symptoms that, if you're having problems and it's unexplained, let's just talk about benzene for a moment. And it's a known cause of leukemia. And we've seen people that had weird blood, and it's like, well, this is going to take a long, long, long time. Always see your hematologist or your oncologist, but you've got to up your nutrient intake, and you've got to do it for years and years and years and years so that your body can detox this. But just styrene, and Janet asked me last night, says, can I put this in a microwave? And it was in a styrofoam. I said, well, you can if you want, but I wouldn't.
How do you get benzene? I was going back to benzene.
Carpet. Smelling the gas fumes or diesel. Now that Janet's got me a diesel, if you can smell it, you don't even have to smell it. It's getting in there. So always go on the upwind side so you don't get those noxious fumes. But some of the symptoms can be, and that's why it's hard to figure it out. Numbness and tingling. Now, when I was a chiropractor, I said, well, I adjust you, and I can give a really good adjustment, myofascial release, da-da-da. If it doesn't get better, hey, we need to look in a different area. Loss of sensation, really bizarre pain syndromes. When you get weak and you have, they call it toxic encephalopathy, brain fog, your brain's going to heck in a bucket. Inability to concentrate, unprovoked mood swings, and Janet talks about her journey when she got her hysterectomy. She was so good, I didn't care. She's just a sweet, sweet lady. But it's not just benzene or styrenes or formaldehyde, because you can get over 200 different volatile organic chemicals, which includes those things, plus many more, plus hexane. Pay attention to hexane. I'm coming back to it. And this is massive, 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 massive studies from the Environmental Protection Agency confirms this, that you get this every day. Benzoyaldehyde, phenol, xylene, chloroform, chlorobenzene, styrene, but hexane. And people ask me about CBD. It's like, well, because of the stupid laws, and I won't get into it, but we don't sell CBD. And what people say, but I'm on a good one, it's like, do you know whether they extracted it with CO2 or did they extract it with hexane? They said, I don't know. It's a good one. I said, you don't know what good is. We think, oh, well, I got a good one because you fell for the advertisement, and you don't really know what's in there. Most CBDs are extracted with hexane, which is a known cancer causer and a causer of brain fog. So you don't know if the CBD is working or you're getting the hexane that's making you go lulu. So
interesting. I did not know that.
Well, I'm full of something.
Well, information.
Hey, I'm having a good time today.
Useful information.
Yeah, well, depends on who's judging that. Sometimes people say pesticides are the safest types, but they can also trigger the brain fog. And we hear this a lot, chemical sensitivity. If you walk down the aisle where they've got all those smelly detergents and it causes you to have a problem, you got chemical sensitivity and you need to be on some of this stuff. Depression, indigestion, bizarre muscle aches, flu-like symptoms, and even cancer. And this is research, folks. This is not my opinion. And Janet and Janet does most of the work around here, but she found a company that says, well, we want our place sprayed because it's got billions of spiders because it's on a little lake. And we moved into it. It had been empty for over a year. And Janet said, I want it done green. And they were like, oh, my God, we've been dying to have somebody to do it green and do it healthy and do it safe. And so they're
dying being the operative word.
Well, we hope to God it's dying, because I was crawling under the house to do something. It's like, holy Jesus, this is like Halloween under here with the brown recluse spiders. And those of you that know my history know that brown recluse spiders have kicked my
They're not his friends.
Immune system. Anyway. So we'll see about this green stuff that's non-toxic. And, the research says that even with these pesticides that are not green, you should stay out of that office building for at least 2 days after they spray. Well, no, they don't do that. Sometimes they spray it while you're sitting there. And then you're supposed to wipe down every surface that you come in contact with, and it's like, well, that's impossible. So you're getting these every day, so you have to take a lot of stuff. But you have, for example, an 80% greater risk of pancreatic cancer. Now, once you're diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, you're usually dead in 6 to 18 months. And that's with, all of this, and it creates leaky gut, and then it messes with your thyroid gland. You're talking about cadmium, mercury, PCBs, dioxins, da-da-da-da-da.
What creates pancreatic cancer?
All of these things, that's just a side note. It can create anything is the real point.
I see.
But it was, I don't know, it's really sad because all you got to do, now, we're going to have health issues, and Janet and I have health issues too, but you can have a healthier life, a better life, a more energetic life, a better mental cognition, so better communication back and forth, if you take things that will support your body's detoxification. And again, you don't have to understand this. You just have to know somebody that does, and get on the train and never look back. I've seen people start a good program, whether it was mine or not, and then go to the next one and go to the next one and go to the next one. If you're constantly searching on Google, you're not doing it correctly. Stay the heck off Google. You can't diagnose yourself.
Did you know that just drinking water actually helps you with brain fog, though? That if
it's filtered.
Do what now?
If it's filtered.
Yeah. Do you put off drinking water until after you just do one more thing? Because by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already dehydrated.
Yeah, well, and the reason I don't is because sometimes we're so busy, and it's not just me, it's teachers and all kinds of people. We don't have time to get up and go to the bathroom because we're so busy at work. And so I tell people, is it upstream or downstream? If it's downstream and easy, just enjoy the ride. If it's upstream, maybe you're not doing the right thing. So yeah, water. If you're not going to the bathroom to urinate every hour and a half, 2 hours, you're not drinking enough water.
And if you don't crave it at all, it means you're really sick, right?
Pretty generally, that's true. And it does help you detox. And I think someday maybe we should get into the difference between phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification.
Okay. Well, maybe that'll be, because I know inflammation has got something to do with brain fog also. And maybe we could talk about the detoxification for inflammation. I think that'd be a great show, actually.
If you can remember that.
Oh, you bet I can, because I have great memory now. Another big thing that causes us to not have great minds anymore is stress and anxiety.
We create a lot of that on ourselves by listening to the news that they don't really give you the news. They give you a deleted and distorted version. So be careful, because every story has some deletion and some distortion in it.
But I know when we get faced with chronic stress and anxiety, our fight or flight response gets stuck in overdrive, and that's our adrenal glands. So when people say, well, why do you run cortisol on your lab? Because my doctor doesn't run cortisol. That's because we want to see what your adrenal glands are doing. And without seeing lab, you don't know whether they're fighting or they have taken off. So because at some point, once they have tried to fight and you don't help them, then they don't have it in them anymore to fight, and so that means they've kind of been overdone, and you have to do something different, a different product. One product tries to help them where they are, and the other product tries to get them back, because it's a big thing to rebuild an adrenal gland again.
And another thing, of course, I'm a chiropractor. I think it's nerve supply and nutrition, but you have parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. They need to be in balance. Chiropractors do a whole lot more than what most people think we're capable of by properly stimulating, or unpinching is a very simplistic word, but you've got to work on the nervous system. Some of the other things, if you're loaded up with toxins and causing brain fog, it also causes metabolic and immune system problems, and it can cause, the chronic fatigue and diabetes. inability to lose weight. And I tell people, half the people lose weight like crazy when they start my program and do it a little bit for a while and change their diet if it's not proper. The other half don't, but sometimes you have to really, really, really detox. And one of the best things, we do this for low cortisol, but it'll work on high cortisol too, and I'm going to get into that too. But we do stress response. I don't like them because they're a tablet, so I have trouble swallowing, so I just chew them up 2 at a time. Janet does one in the morning, one at lunch, but I chew them up, and it's got, we've talked about the phosphatidylserine and the glycerophosphocholene, and it's got a lot of other things in it. Ashwagandha, blueberry concentrate, ginkgo, da-da-da-da. And that is good. People get on it and say, oh, my God. But I'm going to get into a little more specifics on the stress response, but I'm going to tell you why. It's the cortex, somewhat the medulla of the adrenal glands, and Janet mentioned that. You've got like 3 different things generally that overlap to give you physical and mental balance. Remember I said physical, mental, spiritual. Well, to get balance, you have to have the norepinephrine. That's a neurotransmitter or the happy hormone, and norepinephrine has to do with alertness, concentration, energy, and mood regulation. We talk about serotonin and GABA. Well, if you're missing that, well, those are the ones that give you calmness and calmness under pressure, positive mood, sleep cycle regulation. Melissa, hang in there. It's coming. Appetite regulation. So that's serotonin and GABA. The other part of this triad that can be missing is dopamine. Now, that's for pleasure and reward. And usually if you're real low in dopamine, you're an addict of some sort. It can be sex, gambling, alcohol, drugs, whatever. But it's a pleasure reward. It's for motivation and drive and having interest in life and focus and memory. Dopamine, memory, and focus. So I do easy relax for that. But let's get back to the stress response, because everybody's stressed out. Almost everybody. And what it does, it has the glycerophosphocholene, and that supports the membrane structure or the choline levels, which helps create the acetylcholine, which goes into norepinephrine. It helps with learning and memory formation. It also has acetyl-L-carnitine, and I've got a note here somewhere, and again, I have 3 hours of notes for every 30-minute show we do. The acetyl-L-carnitine, I take that 2 a day separately because acetyl-L-carnitine with the GPC has a synergistic effect, but it modulates your alertness, but it increases mitochondrial capacity, which means more energy. It's absolutely awesome.
So you've got how many products going on over there? You're talking about stress response. You're talking about acetyl-L-carnitine in the stress response?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just do the shortcut and take stress response, or you could be like me and just overload. I don't know what I take, but I take about 20 or 30 different things in the morning with whatever the heck Janet puts in my drink. And people say, well, she could poison you. I said, well, she's not any good at it because I feel better. It's got tyrosine, ashwagandha, the ginkgo, L-therio, phosphatidylserine, which is really, really good, but it's not nearly as strong as the glycerophosphocholene. Now,
and we'll talk about the other product just a minute then, because that's stress response, and then we're going to tell you about the big dog at the end that actually helps you get your memory back again. But I want to make sure that
if we can remember what it is,
because Dr. Lewis is giving us a lot of information. Sadly, he's not gotten through half of it over here, but our show
I'm just getting started.
Is not that long. So I want to make sure that some of these questions get addressed, that people are kind enough to write on Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis. They're doing it through the email. They're doing it through the website at greenwisdomhealth.com. And this one is from Troy. He says, besides Dr. Lewis, I've never read anyone mention methyl groups before. This is a page from the book, The Mind-Gut Connection, and it's
a good book.
And this was the only part so far that mentions it, but talks about how the methyl groups can pass to other generations. Dr. Lewis, would you be willing to have a whole podcast on just methylation?
Thank you for the question, Troy. The answer is no, I'm not willing to do that because I told Troy, I said, I'm probably not smart enough to do that. And he kind of poo-pooed that. And I said, yeah, no, I'm just teasing about my.
The problem is methylation is a very intricate, deep subject.
Yeah.
And it takes, there's a lot of people that just, there's more people listening that need to keep it more simple, I guess.
Thank God, because I don't want to get deep because, and I tell people very willingly and upfront, I'm not a biochemist.
That's it.
I'm not no. I'm not that smart. The problem is, Troy and other people, that you hear so many different things and it's conflicting information. That's why I tell people, stay the heck off of Google because you get so much conflicting information. And all people are looking for is things, confirmational bias, basically. They're just looking for something to support what they want to think because they don't have the faith. Use your spiritual faith first and foremost, and you'll do a lot better. Yes, there is a huge methylation issue. And again, Janet mentioned 23andMe. I think it's a really, really good test for not much money. And people say, but the government has my genetics and DNA. It's like, oh, the government knows where you are. Good Lord, quit worrying about it. The fear of that.
If you're carrying a phone, you're done anyway. So
yeah, if you've got shooting times or guns and ammo, they know who's got the guns. Yes, that's me. Methylation problems can lead to hundreds and hundreds of diseases, which can be insomnia and, the brain fog, anxiety, neuropathy, even the tendency to have Lyme's disease and not be able to get over it, addictive behavior, and it goes on and on, hundreds and hundreds.
And that is available on 23andMe. I think that's probably the cheapest way that we found it.
We've done it on people, but it's more expensive.
Yeah, but that it tells you a whole lot more, and it'll tell you if you have that genetic propensity to it and how bad it is, how many SNPs there are in it, so you'll really know if you need to be watching methylation.
Yeah, and SNPs means single nucleotide polymorphism, but again, you can read other things that says MTHFR, and that stands for methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, and that's it's on the 677 gene and the I think 1298. I've got two of the worst SNPs, and that's the 677. Both of them have it. And so when I take my own stuff, which is the methyl supreme, oh my God, I feel good. And Janet can tell you the day I don't take it, because about 3 o'clock she says, you're not happy. I said, I'm always happy. She says, you don't have the same energy. I said, well, why did you ask me if I took it? I didn't.
You can basically tell if you have it even without the test. If you've got a depressive personality, you've probably got it.
And I said at least hundreds of diseases. I think everybody in my family has genetic SNPs. I think I'm the only one that's been tested for it. But when my brother and sisters take this stuff, oh my God, their life gets a whole lot healthier and happier. But and there's some. I told you, Troy, I'm not the biochemist, but the methyl groups are found in many, many foods. It's a source to add carbon to molecules like your DNA, your hormones, your phospholipids, think glycerylphosphocholene, neurotransmitters, which means make you happy, and different proteins. The other thing, methyl groups help to convert homocysteine to methionine. Well, you want a little homocysteine. It should be about a 7 or 8 or below, because if you get too much, that makes you much, much more prone to cardiovascular diseases. And I could go on and on about that, but again,
maybe he does know a whole show's worth, but today, not so much.
Thank you.
But I do want to make sure, because we were talking about brain fog, and we have a wonderful product for it now, and a lot of you are already on it, but if you don't know about it, I want Dr. Lewis to explain as quickly as he can about GPC, because that is one of our most favorite products now for quick acting. Notice a difference within a couple of days from many people, that they can tell their thinking's clearer. I personally take it every day because I don't think I can do it without it. So
I think Janet's putting it in my drink, and I have some there beside where I sit on the couch, and I usually get 2 doses a day. And that's one of the things that I mentioned Carl about, because he buys the holy heck out of it, because he said Leslie could tell in 2 or 3 days that he was way better. But GPC improves memory, mental focus, reaction time, even in young people. So if you got a kid with ADD, ADHD, it would be appropriate also. It boosts the acetylcholine, and it improves, actually, I'm talking about research here. I've got good notes. Improves the EEG patterns, means better brain function. It increases production of dopamine, serotonin, and GABA. Remember what I said about that earlier. Wow, she gives it to me, and I'm not a compulsive addict on any way.
And it's a liquid, and it tastes really great.
It really does.
You do 2 droppers to the 1 milliliter line once a day, and it...
or twice, like me. If you don't look at the price, I do it.
Yeah, change your life. But again, we have come to the end of our show. I'm sorry to say we got to one question today. Dr. Lewis was on a roll, but Troy's was answered very thoroughly.
Well, maybe.
And if you're new to the show, please go to our website at greenwisdomhealth.com. Fill out the health survey. If you don't know what we do, we basically do low-cost lab work, so we're not guessing at what's going on with your health. So the things Dr. Lewis mentioned today about brain fog very much could help you, but if you've got deeper issues than that, like thyroid, liver, things that are making you foggy thinking, you really are to consider doing lab work. And Dr. Lewis, if you could please leave us with some words of inspiration to end this show, we would very much appreciate it because we all look forward to it.
Well, it depends on whether you want my smart aleck-isms or whether you want some wisdom. Have you ever noticed the food pyramid shaped like a slice of pizza? I'm telling you, if it's, first being healthy, if it's important to you, you find a way. If it's not important to you, you find an excuse. And I've seen people die way, way, way too young. And people say, but God's in control. It's like, no, he's not. God gave us a choice. And, you can make good choices or bad choices. And I can debate that, the biblically with you. But we have choices, and God expects us to do our best first and foremost. And Amanda, they gave me the book yesterday, Dr. Amanda. She said maybe I should do a show on why Christians get sick. So I'd really like for you to email me or do it on Shooting Straight. And let me have your feedback. Do you want a show on why Christians get sick? Because I can rock you on that one if you want. I welcome your feedback. May God bless you.
You guys have a great week. We'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You're only one step away from a life worth living.